welcome to another episode of the And Now I Know podcast. I'm your host, 32 Flavazz, and I'm here to inspire you to live life at your fullest potential. If you're looking for a podcast that's going to inspire you to chase your dreams, motivate you to get up each and every day, and help you navigate life just a little bit better, be sure to hit that subscribe button right now if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening on any streaming platform, be sure to hit that follow button, and don't forget to download this episode. Welcome back, you guys. I'm so excited to be back sitting down on this chair. If you know, you know, but I've been everywhere but sitting on this chair, and I'm so excited to be back talking to you guys. I'm so excited to be back filming, and it feels really, really good today. Like, I feel amazing about this episode. I feel amazing about coming back to my podcast. So many people ask me, are you still doing your podcast? Are you still thinking about your podcast? And it's like, yes, 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 yes. But I had to get me right. I had to take some time for me. So, full disclaimer, if you want to skip my life update, feel free to fast forward about 5 to 10 minutes. But for now, I got to catch my people up, okay? Because I'm sure you like 32. Where you been? And I have been everywhere under the sun. Life has been great. God has been good. And I've also been had experienced some challenges in life. And I've gone through a lot of incredible changes in life. And I will be sharing that with you guys throughout this life update and throughout upcoming episodes. But I have been everywhere under the sun. If you have been following me on my personal social media, I have been traveling so freaking much. Like, over this past year, I don't think I've traveled this much ever. And I would consider myself to be a well-traveled person, but I have never had a season where I was traveling almost every single month out of the year, right? And since the end of last year, I have literally been traveling every single month. I think I might have missed 1 month this year where I didn't go anywhere. And if you know, you know, but I've been in New York City a lot, and I will be talking about why I've been in New York City, wink, wink, so much. But I've been in New York City a lot. I just came back from Houston. I was in Vegas the week before that. For the most part, I've been in New York City when it comes to traveling. But you guys, I have been gone. Okay, I have been up out of St. Louis. I feel like I was gone. Literally, I've been gone once a month, and so that is such a blessing. I'm so grateful that God has allowed me to be able to travel this much. I know everybody's not able to do so, so I'm just so grateful. And yeah, I've been traveling a lot. I moved out of my place, dun dun dun, and y'all don't even know that because I haven't shared that with anybody on any of my platforms. But I moved out of my place for several reasons, and I'm going to be going over that in another episode, or maybe even in this one. We'll see. I just did an event up under 32 Flavors and my foundation that I started at the beginning of this year called Roots in Her. Roots in Her is a foundation basically to help girls get down to their root and become the person, or grow into the person that God has called them to be. And I do that through different events, through coaching, through mentorship, all of that. But I had my first event 2.5 months ago, live in person, and that was called She's Not Done Yet. That was a Q4 vision board party, and it was so amazing seeing people come that I didn't even know. People come from my social media, come in, purchase tickets, and believe in something that I put together. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing to just have your followers, right, and your people that tap in with you on the internet, but to convert those people into real life people, that is a hard task, okay? Because when I was putting the event together, I was like, dang, ain't nobody booking the event. And so then I connected with a couple people, and I reached out to a couple people, and I ended up filling the room with more people than I even expected. And so that is a blessing, and I'm so grateful. If you listening right now and you was at that event, thank you so much. And what else have I been doing? I have been working on my health and wellness. Not only my health and wellness, my mental health, but I'm going to break down health and wellness first. I have been so locked in. If you know, you know, over the past year, I think I might have shared that on a previous episode, but I have lost over 30 pounds. 30 pounds is a lot of weight. Luckily, I carry my weight well, so it's not like a dramatic, like, oh my gosh, but y'all, that took a lot of energy. Okay, I was walking 10K plus steps a day. I have been doing Pilates lately, trying to sculpt my body. You know what I'm saying? I was in the gym. I was doing Stairmaster challenges, all these different things. I've been meal prepping. I've been in a calorie deficit. And so that has been taking a lot of my energy. But I can say that I am the healthiest that I've ever been in my life. If you've been following me on social media, you know that I'm always in the gym. I've probably been in the gym since I was in freaking high school, like consistently, you know. I've always kind of struggled with balancing and finding a balance. Like I will always get to a great place and then I'll be too lax. I'll fall off at the gym. Y'all know how the same story go. You know, you be super focused in one season and then you fall completely off the next. And now I'm learning maintenance and balance. And that has helped me in so many ways. I feel better. I look better. Like I genuinely feel amazing. Not only that, I started going back to therapy. Now, before I was going to therapy, I was focusing on my foundation. I had no idea why I was behaving in the way that I was. I didn't know why I felt the way that I did. And so before, I was in therapy for about 2 years, and therapy taught me the why, right? I got down to the root of things. I started talking about childhood and my upbringing and my old friends and old relationships. And now, right, I know my why, but I'm still trying to learn how to regulate my emotions. I'm still trying to figure out how to handle myself during conflict. I'm still trying to figure out, you know, not getting too caught up in how other people perceive me, other people's opinions. Like I'm still working on that, because just because you go to therapy, it's not just like a end all be all. Like you graduate from therapy and you never need to talk to a therapist again. But there are seasons in life where sometimes you need to double back. Sometimes, you know, you get to a place in your life where it's like, I think I need to go see that lady again. And so that's where I'm at. And that has been helping me a lot. I only go once a month now. Before I was going every week. And I don't feel the need to do that because I know how to, like, I know the root. Once you know the why, you can kind of calm yourself down and you can talk to yourself and you can journal it out and you can pray it out. But now I'm like, you know, I'm in a different season of my life. And I'm in a new era of my life, and I just need I need a little guidance. You know what I'm saying? Because like I've said before, sometimes you need the Lord and you need some therapy. So I'm currently tapped into both. I have been committed to God in all the ways. Well, I ain't gonna lie. I need to be heavier in my word, right? I've been going to church primarily, but making more time, like one-on-one time with God, has been my focus as of late. And so, yeah, I'm just in a great space, you guys. And sometimes you just need to pause and stop and figure out, what the heck am I doing? Because sometimes you can fall off track. You know, I feel like when I started my podcast, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted to talk about and how I wanted to talk about it. But then I started getting in my head. You know, I got to a place where I felt like I wanted guests, okay? And then I started thinking, dang, like, I don't want my guests to come in here and I don't have the perfect lighting. I don't have the perfect setup. I don't have the perfect cameras. And then I'm like, so that was self-doubt. And we're going to talk about that later. But I'm like, I don't want them to come in here because I'm ashamed. It's like, do not let the enemy, this is just one little gem. We just going to start the episode off with a gem. Do not let the enemy get in your head and convince you that what you have is not enough, because God has given me everything that I need. I'm literally in my own space. Do you know how many people cannot film in their own space? Do you know how many people want to start a podcast and they can't because they don't have the tools? Like, I literally have the mic, I have the light, I have da 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 da. And so, yeah, so I had to, you know, work on myself when it came to that. Like, girl, why are you worried about what other people think? Like, you're not living for other people, you're living for you. And so, yeah, when it came to my podcast, I'm just like, you know, I want to start having guests. And then I started to feel like I was performing with my podcast. It stopped being fun for me. You know, like, you guys, I started to feel like I don't even know what else to talk about, because I felt like I was being so surface level with, you know, me being vulnerable in my personal storytelling, that I felt like I was focusing on developing lesson plans for y'all versus just flowing and just getting on the mic like, what's up? You know, like, it's 32, it's Jay, it's Jayla, like, I'm me. Let me bring you into my world, and hopefully you can take some gems from my life lessons, because that's what this is all about. Inspiring others to live life at their fullest potential through my own life. You know what I'm saying? Because the whole podcast is about what I know now. And now I know. And if you're not sharing with people what you've overcome, what you've been through, if you're not getting down to the nitty gritty, one, you're going to come off like you the professor and you the teacher. And two, it's just not going to be fun. It's not going to be real. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like, okay, it's better for me to be neutral. Like I wasn't even sharing enough opinions on certain things. I felt like, okay, well, let me just play it safe. Let me be in the middle, because it's better to not choose a side. But it's like, nah, like whoever rock with me, rock with me. And if you listen to my podcast and you like my point of view, cool. If you don't, cool. And that's another thing that I've been learning, or going over, I should say, in therapy, is that we cannot get connected, or not connected. I'm sorry. We cannot get attached to feedback from other people. It's all about how you feel about you and what God said about you, because people are fickle, right? You can do something one day, somebody love you. You can do something the next day, they might hate you. And so it's all about what you like, what you love, what you feel, what you want to talk about. And so now I feel like I'm in a position where, you know what, there's no more self-doubt. And there might be days where it might sneak up on me, but I know my purpose. I know my mission. And it's to, share with people and show people that you can live the life that God called you to live. And that don't mean you won't struggle. That don't mean you won't bump your head. That don't mean you won't experience challenges. But them challenges and all the times you bump your head, that your testimony is what you need to be sharing. So that way people can feel connected to you. People can feel related to you. I don't know, because I know I'm one of those people. If you know anybody else outside of me where you might feel inspired by me, you might feel motivated to the point to where you want to be like, I'm not going to say be like me, but follow me. You want to be like the person, because you assume like, dang, they have it all together. They have it figured out. And I'm here to tell you that Miss Motivational, Miss Discipline, okay, the person that's showing up on the internet telling y'all to get up and get active and believe in God and trust God and have faith, is the same person that doubts God, that loses faith, that struggles, that oversleeps, that hits the snooze button. I am just like y'all. And I feel like if I share with you guys how I am just like you all in that way, you guys will feel connected and you guys will feel more tapped in with me, because I'm done sugarcoating. Like, I don't want to sugarcoat no more. I want to bring you guys into my world. So, like I said, I thank you to anybody who is still tapped in and who's been here from the beginning. I do plan on being more vulnerable, and I do plan on, sharing more about my thoughts. And I think some of that content might go on Patreon or something like that. But for right now, I'm back and I'm better. I'm locked and loaded, and I'm ready to bring you guys into my world. So, one of the main things that I've been feeling in this season is stagnation, right? I feel like things stopped flowing. And yes, I was focused on my mental health. Yes, I was in the gym. Yes, I was flying and traveling. But at the end of the day, I knew in the back of my mind that I was not fully fulfilling my purpose. And one of the things that is a big part of my purpose is this podcast. This is the only way outside of my social media platform or Instagram or TikTok where I can really speak my mind for however long I want to, right? For however long I choose to. And so here we are, you guys. I was feeling so stagnant, and I kept doubting myself, and I kept feeling bad. And y'all, that feeling of shame and guilt that's associated with being stagnant does not feel good. I promise you guys, I kept praying like, Lord, please help me. Please get me out of this. Please remove the spirit of this, the spirit of that, the spirit of procrastination, the spirit of, laziness. Like, get that up off me. And God is like, girl, I already gave you the tools. You keep praying the same prayer, and it literally comes down to you just making a choice, right? It's all about making that choice. Do you want to live a mediocre life, or do you want to live the life that I called you to live? And I kept going back and forth with that. But y'all, for a long time, I was just feeling stagnant because I know that I wasn't giving it my all. And I feel like a lot of people look at me like, oh, I am disciplined, or I am do a little bit of this. I do a little bit of this. I do a little bit of that. I have spoken at these events or whatever. And that's cool. But I know that that's not enough. Like, when you know, like, I know for myself that I could be operating just better. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not here to knock myself and down myself. I'm here to, like I said, I made that choice and I made that decision to get out of that stagnant state, which is why the topic of today is how to shake stagnation, because I know a lot of people deal with that. You know, people who are super inspired and super inspiring and super disciplined, they struggle too. You know, people who work in their 9 to 5s, people, your friends, your family, like you never know who is feeling like this, because not a lot of times people don't even share that that's how they feeling. You know what I'm saying? To be able to say, man, I'm feeling stagnant, man, I'm feeling stuck, man, I don't know what to do. To say that takes a lot of courage. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're somebody who strives to be the best, who wants more for themselves. It's hard to say, man, I'm stuck. And sometimes when you are stuck, you just need that motivation. You just need that push, because God can speak to us through the Holy Spirit, with the Holy Spirit. But sometimes we be needing God to sit down on that chair, but he's not able to do that. And so sometimes you need different platforms, and you need different tools that's going to help you and push you and remind you of who you are, who God calls you to be, and why you can get through this season. And so because I feel like I'm now entering a new season, a season of purpose, a season of goals, a season of, just focus, now I'm able to speak to the season that I was just in. And who's to say that I won't feel stuck or stagnant again? But as of right now, I'm locked and loaded. It's a time for everything. I know there's a verse in Ecclesiastes in the Bible, and it says there's a time for rest and there's a time to mourn. There's a time to sleep and there's a time to this and there's a time for that. It's a time to cry and it's a time for that. And listen, I don't know the verse word for word. It's a long verse, but I know it's in there, and I know it basically talks about, there's a time for everything. And so, yes, you need to take a moment for yourself. Yes, you need to rest. Yes, you need to focus on, your mental health and all of that, but you also need to be focused on God's plan and purpose for your life, because you don't know who you helping. You don't know who you touching. And so I'm back and I feel great. And yeah, I'm going to give you guys some tips and tools on how to overcome stagnation, but because I've been through it, because I just overcame that season, and it's not easy. And sometimes we just don't know where to start. But I'm here to tell you that this episode is going to give you some game, and it's going to give you that push. I bet you when you get done finish listening to this episode, you are going to feel like, okay, I can do this. And that's all I want. Honestly, if I just touch one person, that would be great. Okay. And if that one person is my family or my man or something, like, I'm cool with that too. You know what I'm saying? So y'all see how I slid that in there. Anyway, first things first, like I said, I've been in therapy, and I've been talking to my therapist about, I feel like I should be in a bigger place. Like I put red carpets and different awards and things on my vision board this year and last year, and I'm like, Lord, I still ain't been on no red carpet. I still haven't spoken at this, and I still haven't received an award for that. And it's like, girl, whose time clock are you on? Who made these expectations for you? Because God is looking down at you like, girl, you don't even know if I want that for you. You aiming for something and you shooting for the stars. That's cool. But there's no better plan than my plan. And everything happens in God's time. And that is the right time. There's no better time than God's time. Like, you guys, I had applied to speak at CultureCon. If you know, you know, but CultureCon is such a big deal. That just ended a week or two ago, and I really wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be doing some type of media. Like, I always thought that by now, at least, I would be on somebody's red carpet speaking, like interviewing people and da 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 da, But obviously, I did not do that. I also applied to be a part of Woman Evolve. If you know, Sarah Jakes. I need to stop saying if you know. I feel like I've said that like 10 times. But Sarah Jakes puts on a conference every year. It's called Woman Evolve. And I also applied to be a part of the media stuff for that. Didn't get that either. And so I keep looking like, God, am I doing what you want me to do still? Like, am I on the right path? When things don't go your way, you start doubting God. You start doubting yourself, which is absolutely crazy. I know God be looking down at me like, girl, just because I didn't give you this, that don't mean nothing. Just because I didn't give you that, that don't mean nothing. Like, stay the course. And so, yeah, I just felt stuck in that way. And I put these expectations on myself. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you ever applied for something. Let's just say you wanted a job, or you felt like you should be married by now. You felt like you should have a kid by now. You felt like you should have a certain type of car or a house by now. It's like all these expectations that we put on ourselves. It's really, it's all made up. You know what I'm saying? Because God already has things written out for you. And a lot of times you might not understand the why things haven't happened yet, but everything is happening in God's timing. And so, like I said, I've been in therapy, and I was talking to my therapist about, I should have accomplished all of these things, and I should have done this, and I feel like I should have done that. And my therapist was just like, are you worried about what the path looks like or what the path feels like? And I was like, ooh, that's good. That's good, Pastor. Because I put these expectations on myself. I felt like I was dropping the ball, but it's like, girl, you are not dropping the ball if you feel good. You're not dropping the ball if you are truly happy. Like, yeah, you might not have achieved all the things and received all the awards and been on all the red carpets or on all the stages, but don't think it's not coming. Slow and steady wins the race. You got to be willing to play the long game. If you really have faith, you got to trust that God has your best interest at heart. So my first tip on how to shake stagnation is to focus on what life feels like instead of what life looks like. I'm going to say that again. Focus on what your life feels like instead of what it looks like. If somebody could not see your life, but they could feel your life, what would they say about your life? What would they say about you? If they could not see the car you drive, if they can't see the job, if they can't see all the accomplishments, if they can only feel what you feel, they can only look at your life by how you feel about your life, what would they say about you? Would they say you happy? Would they say you depressed? Would they say you sad? And I think because of social media, we think that life needs to look perfect, right? But you can have all the things. You can hit all the followers. You can gain all the traction on your profile. You can have the car. You can have the house. You can have the job. But if you do not feel good, you would not be fulfilled. If you do not feel good, you would not be happy when you close your eyes at night. And that is what's most important. Because I think the world has us thinking that we need to focus on an aesthetic. The aesthetic is what makes us feel good. There's no Pilates class that you can take. There's no amount of money you can make. There's no achievement, right, that you can obtain that will change the way that you feel. I don't know if you're anything like me. I used to be a person that needed to constantly buy some things. I needed to constantly seek this dopamine through material things, right? I used to stay going to Target, filling up my Target cart with all these different items, and I would leave Target and I would feel good for the moment. I would feel good for the night, for the evening, for the moment, whatever time I went. But the next day, all of that wears off and I'm back facing what I really feel like. Or let's say you get the job, okay? You get the job, but you still are not happy. You hate your job, which in turn makes you hate your life some days. You know what I'm saying? And so it kind of keeps you in a constant loop where you have to keep chasing things when you're not focusing on what life feels like instead of what it looks like. Don't worry about what it looks like, because what it looks like don't matter. What other people think your life is about, that doesn't matter, right? Because you can have all the things, but if you're doing it for everybody and you feel terrible about your life, what good is that? You know what I'm saying? And that is another way to keep you stuck in this loop when you are constantly chasing the next dopamine high. You're not sitting with yourself. You're not doing the things to really help you get grounded, to really help you heal, to really help you be the best version of yourself. Because I'm here to tell you guys, even though I was not producing any content for my podcast, I feel great. Yes, I faced challenges. Yes, things took turns, but I feel great. I literally feel mentally well, and that is something to brag upon. You know what I'm saying? Because people can feel that, right? Energy is everything. People can feel that. I don't have to say a word, you know? And a lot of times people have all of these things. They have all of these items, but they're really feeling empty. They don't feel good about themselves because they so busy focused on what life looks like instead of what it actually feels like. Challenge yourself to focus on how you feel instead of how you look. If you were stripped away from everything, if God took everything away, what would people say about you? What would you say about you? How would you feel about your life? And I know that that's some people's testimony. Sometimes God has or will remove things out of your life, or he did remove some things out of your life to make you start focusing on what's most important. And I feel like God has done that to me so many times in my past, to where I don't even care about what I used to care about anymore. I care about how I feel, because it is nothing worse than waking up every day and you not loving your life. Right? You only get one time to do this life thing, and it is not worth living if you are not happy. But the thing is, people think that happiness is coming from the things that you buy, the achievements, the plaques, the nominees, all of that, the job. You know, people think that the happiness is going to come from moving to another place. Well, in fact, that is wrong. That is wrong. Your true happiness is going to come from doing the things that you love. You know, living for God, fulfilling your purpose, doing the things that you know God has called you to do. That is what's going to make you happy. Not the job, not the achievement, not the man, not the marriage, not the kid. Like, none of that is going to make you feel fulfilled, because you can have all of these things and still not feel great. I know you guys have seen the clips floating around of Aisha Curry, right? She was on the Call Her Daddy podcast, and she was talking about how she wanted to be goal-oriented, goal-driven. She thought that she was going to be focused on her career most of her life. She didn't aspire to be, you know, this wife and this mom. Like, I know she wanted kids and she wanted a family and all of that, and she wanted to be married, but she thought that, or maybe she said that she didn't think that she was going to get married. I can't remember specifically, but essentially the root of what she was saying is that, you know, she got married and she got the kids and all of that, which I don't necessarily agree with her talking about that on a public platform like that, because then you open up the door for public criticism and people commenting on your marriage and your family. But I get the root of what she was saying, and essentially she was saying that, you know, life, I want to focus on what life feels like now. That's what I took away from that. You know, she's trying to figure out her purpose, or if it's not already figured out, she wants to fully operate in her purpose and not just be labeled a mom, not just be labeled this title. You know what I'm saying? Because it's more than titles. You can have all the things. Steph Curry is literally a freaking millionaire. Like, they are living lavish. I'm sure they got houses on houses. They can take a trip whenever they want to. But at the end of the day, when you close your eyes at night, are you happy with the way that you live in your life? And it's not to say that, obviously, she said she didn't. She loves her kids and she loves her man, obviously, but she want to feel fulfilled too. And I think that if we start getting back to what life feels like instead of what it looks like, we will see more happy people. And the reason why you want to focus on what life feels like instead of what it looks like is because in order to create, you cannot create in a dark place. You know, some people can. I guess some singers and songwriters and rappers, you know, they can rap out and they can speak about their pain. But essentially, you know, let's just talk about me. Me showing up on the internet every day, or me recording a podcast. I need to feel good about my life. I cannot create if I do not feel good. I don't have anything to talk about. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to talk about anything if I do not feel good, which is why I am focusing now on what my life feels like. And now I'm able to create because I have spent time focusing on what my life feels like instead of what it looks like. So that leads me to my next point. Don't let your spark burn out. I don't know if you guys have ever thought of an idea, or you feel like you caught a wave of emotion, of excitement, of purpose. You feeling good about this thing. Do not let your spark burn out. It's okay to get tired. It's okay to take a break, but consistency is not about giving 100% every day. The way to keep your spark is by giving 5% one day, 20% the next, 100% the next, 10 the next. You feel what I'm saying? Do not let your spark burn out, because a lot of people give 100% and they keep going and going and going, and they drop the ball. They let the spark burn out. And so the first thing I thought of when I was thinking of the phrase, don't let your spark burn out, I was thinking about 4th of July. Okay, I was thinking about those sparklers. I don't know if you guys ever used to play with sparklers on the 4th of July as a kid. Well, when I was a kid, my favorite thing was a sparkler because I was a scary kid. I didn't like all that loud banging and stuff, that riffraff. Okay, I was not the bottle rocket kid. I wasn't the kid that liked to light the fireworks. Give me something light that ain't gonna make too much noise. You know what I'm saying? And so I think of a sparkler when I think of don't let your spark blow out. And I think of God as the lighter. I think of the flame as the idea. And I think of the sparkler, the stick of the sparkler. That's you, okay? And so God lights your sparkler. Boom, you got the flame. You got this fire idea. And when I tell you, you working this idea, I wish I had a stick right now in front of me. But you got the sparkler in your hand, right? And you got the smoke. You got the lights. And you on fire. You excited. You happy. And as soon as it gets to the bottom, you stop. But the thing is, the ideas coming so quick. God like, boom, here's another one. Boom, here's another one. The sparklers are so cheap. You can keep lighting the spark. You can keep lighting the sparkler. You can keep lighting the sparkler. I don't know if this makes sense, but what I'm saying is do not let your spark burn out. Get another one. As soon as the idea is done, as soon as you're done with this project, start another one. As soon as you done recording this, record another thing. Do not let your spark burn out. If you feel excited about something, go for it. If you feel like this is your season, this is your time, go for it. Put the pedal to the metal. I think a lot of times for me, I'll do a great thing. For example, my She's Not Done Yet event. I did 2.5 months ago. By now, I should have put my best foot forward and planned another event. But then there's self-doubt, and then I let my spark burn out. I can say that same thing happened for me the beginning of this year. You guys, I started Roots and Her at the beginning of this year. By now, it was supposed to be this big thing. I should have had several events, and we can shoulda, coulda, woulda all day. I'm not going to beat up on myself, but I'm just being real. I had did a New Year's Zoom call, and that was so big. I had got so much feedback. I had girls from California and literally everywhere. It was a few people from St. Louis, but everywhere but St. Louis. And I'm like, wow, God, like you allowed me to touch these women out of state. And I was so excited. I remember calling my man as soon as I got off the phone or as soon as I got off the call. And I was like, oh my God, like I feel so good. I just touched so many people. I feel like I probably cried. I don't even remember exactly. I probably did, but I felt really good. And I'm saying all this to say, I let my spark burn out because I started overthinking. I let the enemy get in my mind, and I ain't gonna put everything on the enemy because a lot of times it just be you. You know what I'm saying? Like you overthinking, you doubting, you questioning. And so I let my spark burn out. And then my next event wasn't until 2 months ago. So I went from January all the way to August. I done let the whole year pass by before I started doing something. And guess what? I felt stagnant because energy is everything. Your ideas are energy. And you need to get rid of that, right? You need to transform that. You need to convert that into something great. Stop sitting on these ideas. And if you have an idea, do another one. You bake one cake, it sell, bake another one. You make one great Instagram reel, make another one. You make one t-shirt sell, make another one. You make one song, make another one. Do not let your spark burn out because we get too excited, right? We win, we like, yay, oh my gosh, I'm lit. Let's go celebrate. Let's have a drink. Let's party. Let's whatever, right? And then you turn around and because you got so excited, you just felt like you didn't need to do anything else. And I know I'm not the only one who experienced that because I do that all the time. I let my spark burn out and then I wonder why I'm sitting looking crazy, feeling stagnant because you let your spark go out. God is going, when I tell y'all, you can light that light 100 times. It's so much, what is it? Lighter fluid in the lighter. You better utilize them ideas. You know what I'm saying? Do not let that spark go out. And I don't know if that was a terrible example, but I felt it when I thought about it. And I hope you feel it too if you're listening. That leads me to my next point. Stop waiting on other people. Raise your hand if you are somebody that relies on everybody else before you rely on yourself and you rely on God to get something started. Okay, moment of silence for me Moment of silence for you if you raising your hand, because I always get caught up in the, dang, I need this graphic designer, or dang, I need this certain type of camera, or dang, I need this, or dang, I need that. It's like, girl, use what you got. Use what you have. Do not get caught up in what you don't have, and do not let that stop you from doing what you know you should be doing right now. A lot of times people wait for that perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect tools. You might not ever get that if you do not start. Because the thing is, once God sees you putting your best foot forward, I always feel like God matches me where I'm at. If I give 50%, God gonna throw me 75. If God see me trying a little bit, he gonna keep giving me ideas. He gonna keep pushing me. You know what I'm saying? And I always go back to that verse, faith without works is dead, because it is so true. You got to give God something to work with. Okay? If you don't have that vlogging camera, start working on your iPhone. Sometimes they say that the iPhone camera is better than the vlogging camera. If you don't have the perfect home aesthetic, right? If you want to make cooking content, but you feel like your kitchen not looking good, you better make that cooking content, because you got to start somewhere. I think we focus too much on making things look perfect before we get started, and that keeps us from starting. You don't have to have the perfect graphic designer. Go on Canva. You know what I'm saying? You might not have the money to do all the things that you want to do, but are you going to let that stop you? And I am somebody that gets caught up in that. And I also have to say that sometimes you need to take a leap of faith and maybe reach out to people in your community, or reach out to the people that you engage with online and see how they can lend a helping hand. You know, there was a point in time where I reached out to one of my graphic designers, and I was like, hey, I ain't got it to be doing all that I'm trying to do. Okay. I'm trying to create this. I want to do that. I need a logo for this. I need a flyer for that. I need a da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay. And I'm like, sis, I'm working on a limited budget. And guess what? By the grace of God, she was like, sis, I got you. Let me know what you can do. And there have been times where she just done it for free, and I am so grateful. But at that moment, I realized that's God working through her. It's not just her. You know what I'm saying? And that goes to my next point. Well, it's not my next point really, but community is so important. You know, see how you can lend a helping hand. If you're great at taking pictures, it's okay to serve others and say, you know what, I'm going to shoot this for free. One of my best friends shot my freaking profile picture. She shot that for me for free. And it's just like, you got to use the people around you, but do not sit around. I feel like I'm yelling. I'm not trying to yell. This is me really just speaking with passion, but do not sit around and do nothing because you don't have everything, because that will keep you stuck. That will keep you stuck. And we are trying to break the cycle of stagnation. We do not want to be stuck. We want to flow, right? We want to get these ideas out. We want to start living a purpose-driven life. You got to starting today, now, right? In this moment, make it up in your mind that you don't need the perfect everything, but do what you need to do with what you got. Make it happen with what you got. You might not have the makeup artist. Do your own makeup. Okay. You might not have the perfect mics. Order some cheap mics off Amazon. You might not have the perfect camera. Work with your iPhone. At the end of the day, it's no excuse for you to not get it done just because you don't have everything that you want. And I'm really preaching to the choir, but I'm speaking because I had to pull my phone back out because I'm not in position I don't have the cameras. I don't have the camera to set up right here, right there, right here, right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have the lighting in my ceiling, but I got this light right here. And I got these lights in the ceiling that came with the building. So we're going to utilize that so that way we can start operating in our purpose effectively and efficiently. That leads me to my next point. The more you produce, the better you feel. If you want to stop feeling so stagnant and feeling stuck, you got to start. Get unstuck. Okay? The moment that you stop is when you start doubting yourself. You start questioning yourself. You start feeling this guilt and this shame. You have to start. You got to start producing. Stop waiting. Stop ruminating. Stop overthinking. Stop thinking and thinking and thinking to the point to where you don't start. And I'm speaking as an overthinker. It is not easy. sometimes to stop yourself from overthinking, but you gotta stop the overthinking so you can start producing, because the only way to make yourself feel better is if you keep the promises that you make to yourself. If you have a podcast, and I'm speaking to me, if you have a podcast and you know you need to be putting out podcasts, you're not going to feel good when people keep asking you, where's your podcast? Where's the next episode? When are you dropping this? You're not going to feel good if you don't produce. So you got to produce. Guess what? I feel great already because I know I'm in front of this camera or in front of this phone. I feel great. I did my makeup. I made a decision before I left the house, and I said, I'm going to do this because I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm tired of feeling like I'm not doing enough. And it's simply because I'm not doing enough. So just start doing enough. All you got to do is one thing. And another thing, this wasn't written down, but this just came to mind. Stop overcommitting. Okay? Because when you overcommit, you are setting yourself up for failure. Okay? Say, I would like to do 2 things, but I will feel good if I just did the one. So that way, once you do the one, if you have the energy to do the 2, now you got bonus points. But when you setting the bar so high to where it's not obtainable, you let yourself down, and that is what gets you stuck. That is what makes you, beat down on yourself or beat up on yourself or talk down about yourself. But if you don't overcommit, like today, I told myself, I want to do 2 episodes, but if I only do 1, I'll be happy. And guess what? I'm only doing 1 because I'm hungry, but I'm going to feel good about myself. And I have the opportunity to do more later. But right now, my commitment was 1. But before, I would say, I'm doing 3 episodes on Sunday. I'm doing 10 episodes on Sunday. I'm going to do this, and that on Sunday. And it's like, no, be gentle, be kind, set a realistic goal, so that way you can actually get it done. Because I think a lot of times people get stuck or they get this analysis paralysis because you got 10 things on your to-do list because these are things that you want to get done. Like you really want to get them done. But if they don't happen, then what? You know what I'm saying? And so I'm somebody who will make all these big grand plans, and I feel bad about myself when I don't accomplish all the plans. You know what I'm saying? So take it easy on yourself. Don't overcommit. Do what you can, and then the extra is extra. Next point. Your life is not a talent show for other people. Again, your life is not a talent show for other people. You got to start doing things for you. Because when you are not doing things for yourself, you are now performing. And performing leads to burnout over time. And burnout keeps you stuck. Burnout keeps you stagnant. And in order to get out of that flow of stagnation, you have to stop performing. And I'm speaking as a fellow performer because I'm somebody who, again, like I said, when I first started my podcast, I'm like, I'm doing it for the people. I'm doing it for the people. But when you keep doing it for the people and you're not doing it for yourself, you lose your authenticity. You lose your oomph. You know what I'm saying? Because you're doing it for everybody else and you're doing it to please everybody else. And I'm really speaking to my fellow people pleasers, like, you got to do it for you. Your life is not a fashion show, a talent show or a fashion show. You don't need anybody else's validation. You don't need anybody's yes. You need God's yes. You need your yes. If you believe in what you're doing, if you love what you're talking about, if you love what you're doing, keep doing it. Don't worry about other people. Use feedback as data. Feedback should only be data. Feedback should not start or stop. Feedback should just tell you what the people like, what the people mess with. And if you choose to dive into that, cool. But you don't ever want to lose sight of yourself. You don't ever want to get to a place where you're performing, right? Because that is what's going to lead to burnout, which is going to keep you stuck. The only way to really live the life that God called you to live is to keep going. You got to keep going. You cannot stop. No matter the challenge, no matter what is in front of you, you have to keep going because your purpose is to bring people closer to Him, right? In some kind of way. And If you not doing it, who else gonna do it? Because nobody can do it like you. And I have to tell myself, yes, there's other motivational speakers. Yes, there are other podcasters, but nobody's going to do it like you. There's somebody out there waiting for me. Yes, they might like this person, they might like that person, but they might connect to me. They might hear my story and feel me. They might love my tone of voice. They might love the way you dress. They might feel like I see her, I see myself. I see him, I see myself. And so you do not want to get stuck because it's going to tear at your mental health. You're not going to feel good about yourself. And all of that is just negative energy. And I know if you're listening right now, you either working on something or you got something that you're sitting on. And I just want this episode to be encouragement for you to start, for you to get started. Take the leap. Don't think about nothing else. Because if you're anything like me, if you're an overthinker, you can overthink and overthink and overthink and you won't even start. Okay? That's how I got in the position that I'm in today. And yes, like I said, I was working on my mental health. I was in the gym. I was this. I was traveling. But at the end of the day, I wasn't satisfied because I know I wasn't really fulfilling God's purpose in the way that he wanted me to. And you also got to look at your life like I get to instead of I got to. That I get to instead of I got to energy will make you more grateful. And you being grateful and you feeling like I am able to, I get to, will shift your mindset. It will take you out of that I'm forced to do this. It will keep you from feeling so restricted, like, I gotta go into work today. I gotta record an episode today. I gotta make some content today. It's like, no, I get to make some content today. What a blessing it is to be able to show up and do what I do. What a blessing it is to be able to touch the people I get to touch. What a blessing it is. And once you shift your mindset to that, to a mindset of gratitude and appreciation for what God is allowing you to do, that will make things feel a little bit easier. That will make things feel less like a job, which in turn will make you feel less stuck. And so I always close out each episode with the "and now I know" segment. And now I know that one, you need to focus on what life feels like instead of what it looks like. That two, you just got to do something. You got to put some type of point on the board each day. Because if you don't, you won't feel good about yourself. Especially if you're a goal-driven person. And three, you can do this, man. You can do this. Sometimes you need to encourage yourself. You got to tell yourself, I can do this. Because one thing the enemy love to do is try to trick you out your spot. One thing the enemy love to do is to feed you lies and to tell you that you're not worthy and that you can't do this and that you need a certain type of camera to do this and that you need this type of person and you need this and you need that. You need God. And I'm telling you, when you connect with God and when you collab with God and you keep God at the center, he will make sure your cup is always filled, even when you feel like it is not. He will always provide you. He will always make a way. And he will always give you the things that you need. I'm telling y'all, when I started this podcast, my mama helped me get half this stuff. Okay? Because at the time, I was experiencing so much, and I talked about this in my very first episode. I was experiencing so much. I needed my mama at that time. But God made a way. He made a way for her. He made a way for us. He made a way for me. And here I am. I don't know how many episodes I got out now. I think this is like maybe 19 or 20. I don't know. But we here. And I'm grateful. And I'm happy. And I'm very proud of myself. And sometimes you need to give yourself a pat on the back. You know. Clap for yourself. Remind yourself of who you are. And remind yourself of whose you are. Okay? So again, thank you guys so much for being here with me today. I hope you guys took away something from this episode. And I feel really good being back in this chair. The next episode you guys are going to hear is so freaking fire. I'm sitting down with a guest this time because I know y'all probably like, girl, when are you going to have somebody else on the episode? The last time I had somebody on the episode, it was my bestie, and that was when I first started. But I got another special guest coming, y'all, and I'm so excited. So make sure you tune in to the next episode of And Now I Know. I feel like I need a little jingle, you know? I feel like I need a little jingle. And what else I want to say to y'all? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I hope y'all have a great day at work. I don't know what y'all doing. In a minute, I need to get a little turntable. I watched the Joe Budden podcast. At this point, I'm rambling. I watched the Joe Budden podcast. I love that freaking podcast. I love it for entertainment, okay? And I don't really watch TV a lot, and I don't get the chance to always just scroll on my phone because I work with my hands. And I like listening to the JBP for the entertainment piece or whatever, but I want to add more personality. Like, I want to add more, like, maybe music or, like, a little jingle. Like, I don't know. I'm working with what I got because I told y'all to work with what y'all had. But, yeah. If you notice things changing over time, just go with the flow, babe, because I want to, like, really get into my bag. Like, I'm done being Mrs. Professor. And yes, you guys are going to be getting the gems and all the things, but I want to make this fun again. I want to make this like, I'm about to sit down on the mic. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. You know, like, I want that to be the vibe. And so, yeah, thank you guys again for tuning in to another episode of the And Now I Know podcast. Be sure to follow me across all platforms. That's at 32 Flavors. That's at And Now I Know podcast. And also subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. I don't know why. And also give this video a thumbs up. And also leave me a review. I feel like I always give y'all a list of things to do, but it is very helpful to me and my platform. So, yeah, I thank you for listening. And I will see you guys next week because I am dropping every Monday I'm trying to debate if I want to do 7 p.m. or 8 a.m. At this point, this podcast episode is turning into a voice memo. But, yeah, I love you guys. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode. And I will see y'all next week. Make sure y'all tune in and support next week's episode because I can't even tell y'all who it is. You just got to tune in to see. Love you guys. Mwah.